Fear not, citizens. We are back with My Hero Academia. This is the Amateur Otaku podcast where we talk all things anime and sometimes manga, like we are with MHA. Joining me, as always, is the heroic pun himself, Emblemaniac, Isaac Wolf. How's it going, Isaac?
It's going good. I'm just exhausted, but that's per usual with this brand.
Yeah, I don't think an episode has gone by where you haven't said you're exhausted, so I feel like that just comes with the territory at this point. For
Some
those
have, some have.
Well,
But
let's try and make that a more often occurrence then, huh?
for some, where do you say before I cut you off? I do apologize.
No worries, man. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lord Explosion Mike, aka the Now Cinephile. We're here to talk about My Hero Academia chapter 358, titled The Guy Who's Made Some Progress. If you haven't gotten caught up on My Hero Academia or you haven't read this specific chapter, this is your spoiler warning. We will see you all in August when we get some new anime OVAs for the anime onlys. That should be fun. But we're talking chapter.
Touchdown! No, wait, wrong sport.
Wrong sport, man. It's baseball. And there's no crying in baseball, so Deku better not appear in that episode.
Okay, strike!
There you go. But that also can be bowling. It depends. Anyway, in this chapter of My Hero Academia, we break away from the All for One fight, and now We're back with the Tomura Shigaraki and the Baku squad. Isaac, I just want your overall thoughts and opinions on this one because we get thrown right into the action. It's kind of disorienting at first because we haven't been with these characters in like 2.5 months, it feels like, but they're still fighting Shigaraki. Like, how do you think it was just jumping right back into that battle?
Honestly, it made me confused because I was just, is this going on? Is this quote unquote real time, or is this is this after the All for One battle? Because you know the speech where Bakugo said, "I don't know if it's Shigaraki or All for One talking," and then I'm just thinking there, this speech is very All for One. It's not very Shigaraki. It's not that chaotic. Is that the word here? So I
I'm
was wondering, does
sorry.
this occur afterwards?
I think it was happening concurrently because All for One is inhabiting both bodies, essentially. He's taking over
Yeah.
Shigaraki's mind and he's manning his own body. And so I feel like while everything is happening with Hawks and Endeavor on the other side of the battle, we're picking up where we left off essentially 2 months ago with these characters.
Yeah.
That's my thought. So and I think that's a valid question for Bakugo because he's never interacted with All for One or Shigaraki very much. So I believe that's a valid question for him to ask since he's not entirely sure. But yeah, it's a bit disorienting. It's a great chapter. Don't get me wrong. I freaking
Yeah.
love cutting back here, and the art is amazing as always. Seeing Sun Eater, seeing Nejire-chan, seeing Best Jeanist, Mitiko, it's so great. It's just again, this is a fight we haven't seen in months now. Whether the manga's been on break or if we're focusing on All for One, so it's really cool just to get some more from Tomura Shigaraki and Bakugo, which are two fantastic characters. And I don't know, I just can't wait for the next chapter because this was a very set up the next phase type of chapter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
And also, it just shows that Bakugo is more than just an angry teen yet again, and he has evolved.
That is very true. And I love, again, like the title of this chapter is The Guy Who's Made Some Progress. And I'm fairly confident that is a result of Bakugo growing up, right? And seeing him
Yeah.
wanting to work as a team, wanting to fight for a better future. He's not just fighting to win, he's fighting to save the world, which was he and Deku's entire initial struggle early on in the series. And so it's really great to see Bakugo realizing he can't do everything alone. They're going to have to work together to take down Shigaraki. And so he has this incredible new suit from the support course. Like, it's overkill in the best possible way. What did you think of Bakugo's?
Overkill is a perfect word to explain Bakugo as a character. I will admit,
not wrong.
At first, his temper tantrum was. I was annoyed by him as a character because of his whole temper tantrum and all that jazz.
Yeah.
But that Bakugo has grown on me, especially after him apologizing to Deku.
You know.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I just sure he's hot-headed here and going quote unquote overkill here, but it's just nice seeing that he has some progression in his character, which is small but subtle here.
You're totally right, and I love that about Bakugo. What I love about Bakugo is, as a character, like he didn't have the greatest life, but he didn't have anything nearly as traumatic as Shoto, right? So it's just really cool to see a character who didn't have the Batman level trauma, but we just see he grow as a person. He listens to his teachers, he reflects on himself, he realizes he's made mistakes and his flaws, and he's trying to change how he comes across, and he's just overall like basically going an entire character change. Like, yeah, I was kind of douchey. Let me be better. And I just think that's really cool because he didn't need the traumatic shell shock that Endeavor had, like when he discovered what happened with Toya and Shoto.
Yeah.
I just think that's kind of cool. It's like, yeah, a character doesn't need a traumatic or a life-changing event to become a better person. Bakugo just over time became a better person, which I thought was a really cool little nugget in his overall character development.
Yeah, because if he had stayed as the hot-headed, you don't listen to anyone besides to some extent All Might. I'm sorry, because he asked to keep it all a secret. That kind of yash. Bakugo would just be boring and annoying as a character, not as annoying as a certain Mineta, but that's another story.
Mineta does not count simply because he's not really a character. He's just a gag at this point.
Yeah, but you get what I mean.
I totally feel you. What do you think is going to happen with with his super impressive heavy mobile unit Strife Panzer? That's Bakugo's terrible at naming things. We should never let him name anything again, by the way, because his armor is ridiculous.
I think he's going to do some damage, but maybe even I could see them doing the whole classic. Is he dead? He looks like dead. Oh no, he's dead. Not dead. Goes back up, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I love how Bakugo in this chapter is very much thinking like Deku. Like he's reflecting on, we have Monoma and Aizawa, we have Kaminari, we have Yaoyorozu, and then we have that amazing shot on page 10. If you guys are looking at the chapter, page 10, Deku running to the sludge monster. And yeah. I love Bakugo not reflecting on All Might's words, on Deku's words, but he's reflecting on what Best Jeanist just said. And I think that's so great. So great, because Best Jeanist is a huge influence on Bakugo. That was the person who was his mentor early on in the series. And so I love how we see all that coming together. Bakugo knows that they're all sacrificing so much. He needs to end Tomura Shigaraki with a howitzer impact cluster. This is one of those chapters where I feel so bad for Studio Bones in like 2 years, right?
I would say that this entire arc, I feel sorry for Bones. They need to hire quite the reinforcement as a. I know that wordplay. You can argue considering it's a war arc, but yeah, they need to hire more people
They need
for
an
the
army.
side that are. Yeah, or at least close to it.
Yeah, like Studio Bones, I feel so bad for them because you have to do that entire All for One fight. Then you have to go into this fight. And then you
Yeah.
know Deku's going to show up somewhere in like 4 chapters.
Yeah, because here is also a thing that I feel that makes the whole. We know that he isn't going to take down Shiggy, because I will be heavily surprised if he does.
Yeah.
Is All for One's original body is dead, crumbled, all that jazz. I would be shocked if that body has survived, knowing the situation were.
Well, it's like we said before, right? It's like Deku might end up taking over Shigaraki's body. And
Yeah.
then Deku has to fight All for One in like the Vestige realm.
Yeah. So I'm just half of the big bad is gone, and you can't have both half being taken out by someone not being Deku. That's what I mean.
That's what's really interesting, though. Like, reading it as it happens is fine, but like if you reflect like a year from now, Isaac, you reflect on this series after it's been completed. If All for One is really defeated by Hawks, Endeavor, Jiro, and Tokoyami, does that feel satisfying to you? Are you okay with that? Or should it have been like, yeah, that should have been Shoto, Bakugo, or Deku?
I mean, at first glance, I would say yes. It would be disappointing because, as I said in the last episode we had, I think they have built up this fight, the fight against All for One / All for One / Shige versus Deku. They have pretty much built that up since the beginning, so to speak. And if Deku doesn't fight, let alone take down either of them, that's a bit disappointing. Maybe they can do something like the what's the second movie's name where they
A Hero's Rising.
Heroes Rising, thank you. Do something inspired by that movie at the end, but I just feel that Deku not being involved with the defeat of either part of the character would be quite satisfying from what we know now. Maybe it could work later on. I don't know, but
well, we know he's going to Shigaraki because that's where he was supposed to be all this time. So Bakugo and the crew are just holding him off until Deku arrives, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. I mean, they could do something like in that Shoto for whatever reason. I'm just speaking off air. And I don't think that will happen. They could do a Shoto takes down Shigen. Maybe it work. I don't know, but based on where we are now, I would be disappointed if Deku don't take him, or should I say, dumb down, all things considered.
Oh yeah, I hear you. I totally get that. It's gonna be interesting to see how it all plays out because we still have whatever the heck is going on between Toga, Uravity, and Froppy. I think that's the one battlefront nobody really cares about, but we probably should because Toga can copy powers now. So what if she has Shigaraki or All for One's blood? You know, that's another concern right there. But yeah, like it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Deku because you have to just figure out. And I hate to say it because you mentioned this before, like how Deku is one of the lesser interesting of the main cast. It feels like Horikoshi's just stalling, and I know he's going to make it work because of his love for the character of Deku and everything he's done with the character so far. But does it feel like he's putting this confrontation off a little bit? Like we don't even cut back to Deku to have an inner monologue. We're just not following him whatsoever. It's kind of strange.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it, because this type of arcs with this amount of character causes the problem of how should I put it? How you space it out, because if you do too much deck, people will say it's rushed and don't give the other classmates some time to shine. But if you do quote unquote too much with other classmates, people say, where is the main attraction, or whatever you want to call it? We want to see more deco fighting. So for me, I don't have a problem with them with Deco being gone for all this time, because I like when they focus on other characters also. But I can also see the argument for people longing for more Deco.
Yeah, it's just fascinating to kind of see it play out week to week. You know, if you're watching the anime, right? They're adapting 3-4 chapters an episode. So the flow is very different from reading, 13 pages week to week. So it's just fascinating to see like how Horikoshi's plotting it out in his head and then getting it on the page.
It might not even feel the same way, or should I say, it probably won't feel the same. I don't want to say jarring, but it won't feel the same. We haven't seen Bideko for so long, type of feeling once the anime comes to this arc.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a disconnect, right? Because like when Deku arrives to the battlefield in the manga right now, like let's say it's going to take him 3 chapters while Bakugo's fighting Shigaraki. So let's say it's about a month again before Deku arrives there. It's going to be like a triumphant big moment seeing Izuku show back up after, 3 or 4 months being kind of absent. However, in the anime, it's going to be like, oh yeah, Deku was gone for 2 episodes.
I don't know if it would be 2 episodes, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah. Still, 3 episodes compared to 4 or 5 months of the manga is still very different.
Yeah. I'm not arguing there, my friend.
Yeah, I know. So, this chapter, like, I don't know if you have much more to add to it. It's just a lot of reintroducing us to what's going on in this side of the battle, and then showing us Bakugo's character growth and progression and his new ability. How bad do you think this is going to go? I'd want to ask you that, because Bakugo just threatened Shigaraki that he's going to turn him into Swiss cheese. I don't. We all know that's not going to happen.
Which is just such a Bakugo thing to do.
Oh yeah, of course.
But like I said, I think it's gonna turn out like this. He gets such a hit on Shiggy that I think he's down, and they get some maybe get loosen their guard for a little bit, because oh shit, we're taking him down, and do the sudden oh shit, he's not down, alert, and I'd argue that maybe they at least wound him to the point that he might die. I don't know if I would say that he dies now. I'm still to the point that I could see him dying.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he will die now. But I could see, but if he gave him some wound, really heavy wound that maybe kills him off in, I don't know, 5-6 chapter for now, for some reason, then yeah, that's a different story. But I think he will get a massive blow on him, because he'll losing his guard and believing that he is taking him down or something like that.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm kind of there with you. It's just an interest. I know I've said this a million times already, but it's so fascinating to see how he's going to break this down, because I'm going to be honest with you. This is the most least interesting part of the story. And that's not a fault to Horikoshi as a writer. That's just how anime and these kind of like superhero stories go, where I'm really fascinated with the characters and their stories, but once the punching starts, that's the least interesting part about it. And so when you get into this massive war and it's nothing but the action stuff, for a year, it becomes a little draining. So I appreciate the little nuggets, the little character moments we get, like with Endeavor's flashback, right, from last chapter and 2 chapters ago. So it's like I appreciate, and that's why Horikoshi's a really strong writer, because he knows to like, let's pepper that in here and there, have the backstory with Dabi and Shoto happening in the middle of that fight to kind of give you a little more substance,
Yeah. So, but yeah, it shall be interesting to see if the quote unquote if I'm right about the whole how it's going to end up. But I feel more and more certain that the whole him fighting Deku fighting All for One and then Shingi's body is going to end up happening more and more, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't know, like, do quirks work in the vestige realm? Because if they don't, then I would say no. That's the only way.
Yeah, but we shall see.
We shall see. I've got a little bit of news here, Isaac, before we wrap this up. This was a shorter chapter. It was also 2 pages shorter than the last one. So, a little shorter episode. But, the Blu-ray for My Hero Academia World Heroes Mission was revealed on Amazon this week. And there's a tiny little detail if you go to the Blu-ray. It comes with the Blu-ray, the DVD, but it also comes with the first issue of My Hero Academia Vigilantes.
Ooh.
Why is that?
Yeah, they are doing an anime of it.
Yeah, it's I don't understand why you would do that.
Otherwise.
Like none of those, spoiler alert for Vigilantes #1, none of those characters appear in World Heroes Mission. So there's no reason to have a tie-in unless it's like, oh, by the way, keep your eye out on Vigilantes for a little bit. That manga just ended. Isaac and I, and Brandon occasionally, are reviewing Vigilantes. So if you guys want to hear our thoughts on Vigilantes #1 when you get World Heroes Mission, go for it. It's on the YouTube channel. Isaac, you just link that in the description there below for the folks, and they'll be able to check that episode out. But
maybe I thought that was linked Ryan interview also.
Oh
yes, we did an interview with the English voice actor for the Roadie
Soul. Yes,
he's an awesome dude.
Oh yeah,
and I can also officially say that I've interviewed a Fire Emblem voice actor, which is just awesome in itself.
The Emblem Maniac, it finally came full circle for you. You love to see it.
He voices a Fire Emblem a game in the Fire Emblem spin-off that recently came out.
That's awesome.
Yes, for reference.
That is awesome. But yeah, keep your eyes out on Vigilantes because something might be happening there. And again, there are My Hero Academia OVAs coming out in August. We're going to cover those, so stay tuned for that. It's the first time we get any anime content in about a year. So that's awesome. Isaac, was there anything else you wanted to cover or say before we call it an episode?
No, I have said what I need to say regarding this.
Perfect. Well, if you guys enjoyed this episode, please give us a like and subscribe so you don't miss any My Hero Academia content. It's going to be a little bit of a hiatus because My Hero is going to be on break. As of this recording, they'll be back in 14 days, which is a Monday. That's weird. But, well, we'll deal with that. And so stay tuned because we are covering everything in the world of anime, most things in the world of manga. Follow us on the Twitter at Amateur Otaku Pod so you don't miss a thing up there. Follow Brandon, who couldn't make this episode, at the Scarlet Fan 52. Isaac, where can the folks find you online?
Well, you can find me over at my work at Wobum Entertainment, and you can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter.
Perfecto. You can find me at Novice Cinephile everywhere. I just did an episode of the Film Optics podcast, so check that out with Christian and Devin. That was amazing. We covered Stranger Things 4, Part 2. So that was awesome. So check that out. That's going to be on
Maybe
my
it
Twitter.
was, I guess it was twice the fun, or 2 times 4 times the fun.
It was 11 times the fun because puns.
Yeah. It's hard to do math puns at times.
Yeah, math puns are a bit strange. We have a review of Spy Family coming out this week. It's probably out by the time you're listening to this. We don't know. Stay tuned for that because Spy Family comes back in October, just like My Hero Academia and Bleach.
Just like Bleach. And season 2 of Tiger X Bunny and Tiger Bunny is something we're thinking about covering also.
So much anime.
We're
eating good, though. We're eating good, my friends.
Yeah. We just feel that where's the option of cloning when you need it?
Isaac, we're just going to power through like the good otakus we are. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you next time. And as always, go beyond. Plus Ultra.
Plus Ultra.
Peace.